Hello and welcome to Sestra-Tainment.
Sestra-Tainment.
I'm Lenora.
And I'm Dee.
And we're coming to you today in regards to everything entertainment.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to go first this week. And so I'm kind of switching things up from what I was thinking about talking about. But we actually had a week of a hiatus because we ended up going to Mexico again.
Mexico.
And so we went to Mexico because it was my birthday. And so we had about 9 of us.
Yep.
Go to Mexico, hang out, have a ball. We stayed at a resort, baby.
Yeah.
And so it was really nice. And so a lot was going on too. Like every day it felt like it was a lot of things
pretty
happening.
much. I feel like it felt like every day a lot was happening, but I feel like for the first 3 days, we were like, we still have like 4 more days to be
Yeah, that's
here.
true. It's like so much happened in the first few days that after that you were like, oh my gosh, like if this was the end of the vacation, we'd probably be okay.
Yeah, exactly.
But there's still 4 more days left.
Mom did say that she was ready to go home.
Yeah, by the 7th day.
Well, I think it was before that she said she was ready to go home when she started feeling congested.
Oh,
she was like, I'm ready to go home.
Yeah, even though she's congested at home.
Yeah, but she said it was just more of the comfort of just being able to be at home and
in your own bed.
Yeah, in your own bed, and like she could just do whatever for herself, not have to worry about if she wanted to go to the store, she had to like get a cab to go to the store, find somebody to go to the store with, or anything like that.
Mm-hmm. So you could just kind of be able to do things on your own, feel more independent, I guess, at home versus sometimes when you're on a resort and you have to depend on others to get you from one place to the other.
Did you enjoy your birthday though?
I did. It was great.
Then we had a good crew.
Yeah, we had a really good crew. It was 9 people. Including myself, who went. And so we just, like, he kind of said it best. He was like, we kind of put down our luggage and it was on, off to the races.
Yeah, exactly. But that's how it got to be.
Yeah, it was like back to back things going on. But, I mean, we did spend some time just chilling by the pool. But with this particular resort, even chilling by the pool is an activity because they might have water aerobics.
Exactly.
They had a surfboard contest
going on. They had volleyball all day.
They had volleyball for people who wanted to play. Mm-hmm. They had where you could learn even salsa or whatever, like all these different things. Classes. And then, dance classes. And then they even had where, like, it was like a paper airplane thing. The contest party. All these things are happening at the pool. And then, they had the beach party with the coconut drinks and all of that kind of stuff. So it was a lot going on. And then we even did a walking food tour. Yeah. I'll give a shout out to Eating with Carmen. That's been the food tour that I have done a number of times, and I've really enjoyed going with them, either if it's at the 10 a.m. or the 5 p.m.
I like this one, the one that we just went to. Yeah.
Okay.
I like that one better because he was just like, you want another taco? Here, I got you.
Yeah. But I think that was him. I don't know if it was necessarily, how that evening food tour goes. Yeah. But he was very much like, hey, if you want more, let me know. If you don't want anything here and you want double somewhere else, then let me know. If you want something to drink, let me know. Yeah. Like, it was just that kind of very relaxed.
Yeah, but that's what makes it a good food tour, Yeah,
exactly. Nope, I agree. And so, but it was really fun, really nice. Excuse me. And then ended up my sister. She ended up buying me for my birthday a photo shoot.
Yeah.
And so I ended up having a photo shoot in Playa del Carmen, which was very exciting. And so I ended up having it where 2 people could be in it. So me and Mom were in it because she's not a fan of taking a bunch of pictures. And so it was
pictures.
Yeah, but it was really fun. Walking on the sand, walking through the town, like just
I didn't know what to get you for your birthday, so I was like, a photo shoot to commemorate her birthday. In a whole nother country. I've been talking to these people for like 2 weeks trying to set this up, and then it was just like, all right, we're here.
Where
are we gonna meet you at? What time?
Yeah.
Any answers? So yeah.
But it all worked out.
Because who was his name? Hiram or
Hiram. He was saying that people say it 2 different ways.
Yeah, because it depends on if you're saying it if you're Hispanic or if you are Middle Eastern.
Yeah.
You're
Got
Arabic.
it.
Because he said it's Hiram or
Hiram,
yeah.
Maybe those two, yeah. But he was great. Gave me some great suggestions on how to pose and all of that. So it was fun. Just I'm not necessarily the girliest girl in the world, so it was just kind of why are you laughing?
No, because I'm just saying because you're not like prim and proper.
No, I'm not going to put on a bunch of makeup and false eyelashes and long nails and try to see.
That's what I think that other photo shoot was going to be like. They wanted you to have that. They wanted you to be like trying to be Kim Kardashian. That's not
like
you.
for the gram.
Yeah. So that's not you. So that's probably why it worked out best.
Yeah,
it's probably why it worked out best. And it saved some money too.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly. Yeah. So no, it all worked out. It was great, and I enjoyed the pictures that I took. He took over 200 pictures, and I think I narrowed it down to 45 that I was going to pick. And it was supposed to be about 20.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh my god, it was so hard because I liked so many of them, and it's not like I wanted to look at myself, but I was like, oh, this is so cute. Yeah. Oh, this could be something that I could use maybe on a Sestra-Tainment website one day, or this could be something that can commemorate my birthday because I had a shirt on with my year on it. Things like that. So it was certain things that I just really liked about some of the pictures or the color scheme that was in the background, or the ones with Mom where we were holding hands walking around on the beach or walking down the street, and so it was just cute. So I said I'd go ahead and get those. So yeah, it was really fun and nice. One of my friends, she did do parasailing, so that was exciting for her.
Shout out to Janella.
Yeah, Janella. Her and Toby. Shout out to Toby. They actually threw me kind of a breakfast.
Yeah, breakfast birthday
party
celebration
thing with balloons and cake and
saying happy birthday to you.
Sparkles all over the table and confetti, and then the staff there tried to scare me to death by popping the balloon right after they sung me happy birthday, and I was just like, oh my god, what is going on? So, but it was fun, very unexpected. I wouldn't have probably worn what I wore had I known that there was going to be a birthday celebration, because I don't like wearing shorts, like talking about it, and I had some shorts on.
You were sitting down the whole time, so it's fine.
Other than me walking in to the celebration and everybody had their phones out videotaping me walking to the table, but it's fine. Good.
It's for them to look at, not for you, so it's fine.
It's all good. It's all good. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. So, but no, Mexico, like I put on one of my Facebook posts, I was like, doesn't owe me anything. Playa del Carmen doesn't owe me anything, between the events that took place and the animals that were on site, which were kind of interesting. I think we had talked about previously the howler monkeys that, are in the Yucatan. And the coatis, right? Yeah. And there's something else that's a rat-looking one with no tail that I can't remember. It begins with an A, like agostos or something like that. But anyway, so all of those were, just around, and like you'll just be walking, and at one point I was standing still, and a little monkey walked over across my feet, and went on and crawled up to the other side.
And crawled up to the banister, because it was just like, you got some food for me? Because
and I didn't.
It clearly says, do not feed the monkeys. And what was everybody on the resort doing?
Feeding the monkeys.
One lady even gave a monkey coffee, and then she drank the coffee after it. Maybe she has monkeypox. I don't know. Yes.
She had the monkey sip her coffee, and then she sipped the coffee after the monkey?
Yes.
I did not see or know about that.
Yeah, that's what I was showing you in the picture. I was like, this lady right here with the cup in her hand. That's what I put in the message. I said, why is this happening?
I didn't recognize what was happening. Okay, got it. Okay, interesting. So, and then we wonder why there's so many viruses and crazy things that happen in the world. So, I was totally fine watching the monkeys from afar. I was not feeding the monkeys. I was just going to...
Yeah, I just walked by the monkeys and pretend like they weren't even there. It's like, what's up, bro? I've seen you.
So it was so funny, though. But that baby monkey, as soon as it got on the banister, then some lady handed it something, and then the mother started howling, I think. Oh, yeah. And I was like, okay, I'm out. Yeah, that's all I needed to know, because no monkey's going to jump on my back and pull at my hair.
You look like Martin. You look like Martin when he was fighting out the monkey.
Oh, my gosh. No, I was not going to have that. But it was such a fun trip.
Yeah, and it was really nice. We only had rain that one day.
My birthday.
Yeah. That morning, but then by that evening it was.
Yeah, it was probably gone by noon.
9. But I think it was like 9 in the morning when it was done. When it stopped raining.
Okay, yeah, maybe.
I feel like it was because what time did we go into
we
town.
Probably went to get breakfast or something. I don't know. And then by the time we came out,
by the time, because you had breakfast at the place, and was it raining when you came in? See, so it was like 9, and that was at 10.
Yeah, so it stopped before then, and then we ended up doing the food tour, the walking food tour that night, which I was nervous about if we would be able to do it because it was like a monsoon rain. Yeah, because they had a cyclone come through. Yeah, it was a tropical storm or whatever. Tropical storm. Yeah, so that one was a little bad, and that's kind of the thing. When you try to go somewhere, it's hurricane season in the Caribbean, in the Gulf, in different areas. So when you try to go somewhere, sometimes that happens. But thankfully, even though it looked like before we left that it was going to be raining every day, it only rained that one morning, really. I mean, a drizzle here and there.
Yeah, it was kind of like a Florida type rain.
Yeah, like a quick, few minutes rain kind of thing. And then it would go away, and it was just very beautiful. And it was still overcast a little bit, but that was okay because nobody wanted to have all that sun beating down on you while you're trying to walk around and do things.
Yeah. We did that in May.
Yeah. So, but it was nice. So that was Mexico. So that's the first topic of the day. So I will hand it over to you, sis. What do you have?
All right, so everything I'm going to talk about is from, I was going to say Mexico, is Netflix. Everything in Netflix. All right. Now, wildly enough, this is all the things that I watched that I downloaded on my phone on the way to Mexico.
So you can watch it on the plane.
So I can watch it on the plane, exactly. Wow. So, one thing that I watched was a movie, and it's a animated movie, so... The cast is Kid Cudi.
Okay.
He plays Jabari. You have Jessica Williams, who plays Meadow. Laura Harrier, who plays Carmen. Ty Dolla $ign, who plays Kai. Timothy Chalamet, who plays Jimmy. And then there's a bunch of other very, very big celebrities in here. You got Keith David, and I think you know him because he's been on Greenleaf and Princess and the Frog. You got Vanessa Hudgens, she's on there. Tiana Taylor, Jaden Smith, Macaulay Culkin. These are all people who are the voices of the characters on Intergalactic. Now, I forgot. Kenya Barris is in it. Luis Guzman's in it. The cast is great. Okay. Cast is great. All right, so because it is an animated movie, all of the it looks so realistic, but all of the characters, the drawings of the characters, look like the people. So when you see somebody who sounds like Kenya Barris get up and start talking,
it looks like
it's a drawing of Kenya Barris. So that was pretty cool.
That's kind of cool. That's a good concept.
Yeah. So basically the story is Jabari is a street artist, and no one really thought that he was going to go anywhere, but then all of a sudden he got this job offer for a comic book that's a Marvel type company. So as this is happening, he's coming up, he's getting big, and then he bumps into an ex-girlfriend who she finds out a casual bump into her type thing. Yeah. She's eating at a restaurant on the sidewalk while he's riding his bicycle down the road eating Chinese food. Okay. You know what I'm saying? So he has one of those mongoose bikes that has pegs and everything on it so you can do tricks and everything. Okay. I have no idea. Yeah, he has a trick bike. Okay. He is one of those bikes that you see the people do on TV. Oh, okay, got it. Kick flips and all this other stuff. Sure. So as he stops, she's just oh, how are you doing? He was just oh, I'm doing all right. She's oh, where, how's the job market going? He was oh, actually, I got a job at such and such. She's really? Next thing you know, she's trying to inch her way into his life, but. Get this, as this is happening, as he's trying to inch his way into his life throughout this movie, he falls in love and gets smitten with his neighbor. Now, how he meets his neighbor is that he just moves into this building. He hears some music blasting through the walls, so he's trying to go to sleep. He goes and he's just yeah, some people have to work. And then right when he says that, she turns around. Now, she's hosting this party in her apartment, and he just stumbles over his words. He doesn't even know what to say. And then the next thing that you know, he can't, he's trying to talk to her and everything. He can't get her out of his mind. Oh. He's no, it's cool. You can keep the music on. But then he goes home. He can't stop thinking about her. The next day, he can't stop thinking about her. He's just going insane. So, then that's like when the love interest starts to happen in the movie. So it's like it's the whole movie based on that. She's also an artist. So it's like her art journey as well as his art journey, and then how they kind of coincide with each other, but they're not rushing, but they're trying to stop themselves from rushing into a relationship, or even trying to figure out if they want to be in a relationship because they're neighbors. So that's basically it. It's really good. I liked it. Once again, it is called Intergalactic, and it is on Netflix.
Okay, awesome. And so it's like one of those cartoons, but it's written like where it looks more real than it looks like cartoon.
Yeah, I mean, like nothing is like made up. It's nobody flying around or anything. It's like actual people doing people things.
People doing people things. Okay, got it. Great. All right. Well, I'll go next, and I have, as you were mentioning things to watch while you were on the plane, I ended up watching the movie Elvis on the plane.
Okay.
And so this is the movie that came out 2022, Elvis, starring Austin Butler as Elvis. It also had Tom Hanks in it as Colonel Tom Parker, or also known as the Snowman, which I had no idea that was also what he was known as. I don't know if he was, or if it was just in this movie they called him that, because basically he was such a con man and con artist. It's almost like how they always say, like, you get snowed over or something like that. Like, he would just snow over people and therefore not have them realize that he was taking advantage, so to speak. And then you had Olivia DeJonge, I don't know how she pronounces her last name, but she played Priscilla Presley. But anyway, I don't know if I can actually recommend this movie because it felt extremely disjointed. And what I mean by that is that, you had the whole narrator of the story was Colonel Tom Parker.
Yes.
And so Colonel Tom Parker isn't necessarily the good guy in this movie. Yeah. So he's
definitely the Don King of the movie.
Yeah, so it's one of those things that, everybody seems to have the understanding that he maybe took advantage of Elvis and he, made Elvis do things in his career that Elvis didn't want to do just so that he could make the money off of Elvis. But yet he's telling the story. And then as he's telling the story about Elvis, as he's doing the shady things, he doesn't tell that part of the story. But you see some of that part of the story. Yeah. He's just not narrating it.
Yeah.
But then he'll narrate other parts of the story. Yeah. Colonel Tom Parker had a strange voice too, but this just it was just very.
But maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's what it is. It's the strange voice is actually what Colonel Tom Parker actually really sounded like.
I don't know if he really sounded like that. I'd probably have to go back and listen to something, but it didn't work for me. I'll just put it that way. And so basically, it's the story of Elvis and how Elvis actually did kind of take things, like how when he was younger, his family, when his father left his mother, they all ended up moving to the black part of town.
To the hood, yeah.
So when they moved to the black part of town, he had black friends. He would go to black shows and black church,
he went to black revivals, yeah.
He would go to, hear blues and, all of this. And so in the process of him doing that, the black music influenced his style of music. And so therefore, they're kind of showing how he appropriated it to a degree, or he was inspired, quote unquote, by the black music that made him then have his own style that was so different for people to hear. Because when the movie kind of first starts, you have where Colonel Tom Parker is hearing this guy singing, and he's like, oh, who is that? And the guy was like, oh, that's Elvis Presley. He's getting ready to go on XYZ, tour. And they were like, oh, no, he's not going to go on that tour. They don't let Negroes on that tour. And he was like, well, he's white. Exactly. And Tom Parker was like, ding, 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 get in front of Elvis and therefore be able to make money off of him, basically, and be his manager. Yeah. And so, long story short, it just shows how he's just a shyer guy who, would kind of come to life on a screen, about why he went into the military. It goes into his relationships with people like B.B. King, and when he first saw Little Richard, and all of those types of things that were the Black culture kind of, came into his life. And it kind of goes through his career in spurts. So it's like, okay, the early Elvis, him meeting Priscilla, them getting married, them having Lisa Marie, him cheating on Priscilla, him with the drugs, then he's getting older, then he's the heavyset Elvis, and then he's dead, and then the movie ends.
But I mean, so my thing is, why is it that him and his wife meeting when she was 14, why would that should have been a thing?
Well, the funny thing about the movie is they don't talk about her age at all in the movie in regards to how old she was when they met. But supposedly her parents knew about their relationship, whatever. They didn't get married until she was old enough to get married, even though they had a relationship prior to that. And they kind of made it look like she was somebody that he could relate to, because it was like she didn't really care about his status. She was just somebody he could talk to. She could talk to him. I don't know if it was more of like a situation like Michael Jackson with kids, like where, I can relate to them because I lost my childhood. So therefore I can relate to children, and I want to play and run around and do these things like little kids do, where maybe Elvis just felt like, I miss my teenage years because I was doing X, Y, and Z. So I can hang out with somebody and talk from a teenage perspective. I have no idea. They didn't cover any of that.
They didn't cover anything about that. And then I don't see why you would let a grown man be alone in the room with your 14-year-old child. But, that's just me.
Yeah, but there's the whole R. Kelly Aaliyah thing with all of that, too. And everybody was wondering why would her parents agree to that.
So, but that's what I'm thinking. I wonder if it's because he was Elvis. That's why they did it. It was just like, you can marry him.
Could be.
Yeah.
Could be not. Yeah. So, no telling. And, different times also make a difference. Okay. People hopefully are more aware and making better decisions in 2022 than maybe they made in the 90s or even in the 50s and 60s and
I would hope
all of that. So you just never know. So anyway, but the movie to me just felt very disjointed. I couldn't understand why Colonel Tom Parker was telling the story. I felt like the movie just kind of not jumped around a lot, but just didn't seem very cohesive. And the funny thing is that Priscilla and Lisa Marie and all them, like, they all put their stamp of approval on this movie, and they were kind of involved as being people who could validate the authenticity of the movie and what actually did happen and what was said and all those kind of things. So it's like I'm kind of shocked that it wasn't a better movie based on the fact that it had true people who were involved being resources for the movie. So, but that's all I have.
I mean, I know I watched it and I was just like, I kind of was just like,
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't. I watched it like right after it came out, and I didn't even talk about it. So,
yeah, exactly. It didn't even.
I forgot all about it already until you had mentioned. Oh yeah, I watched Elvis, and I was like, oh yeah, that's right. I did watch that.
Yeah, right. So it was one of those things too. Like looking at the trailer for it, I was like, I felt like he looked like a young Elvis, and he had the mannerisms. So his acting was impeccable.
He said that he had to do it for so long that he just walked around all the time just talking like Elvis, and then he said sometimes he'll be doing interviews and it will come out and he'll just be like, oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry, my Elvis came out.
Because, you I guess if you live your life as somebody else, after a while you just become that person, you know?
Yeah. Well, and that's why sometimes with actors, they don't know who they are because they're always going from person to person,
they're always
pretending to be somebody else. Yeah, exactly. So, but anyway, that was it. Elvis, the 2022 movie. I actually watched it on Netflix. So, actually, I can't even say Netflix. I watched it on the plane.
But I think it's on HBO. I think it's what it's on. I don't think it's on Netflix.
It might be on HBO. And it may just not even be out yet. I think it's out somewhere, though.
Yeah, because I watched it here.
You did?
Yeah, okay, so I think it's HBO that it's on.
All right. Well, there you go. What do you have next, sis?
All right. So the next one that I have is a movie that I really like. It's called A Jazzman's Blues.
Oh yeah, I heard about that.
All right, now this is a movie that is also on Netflix because they said I'm doing Netflix. All these are Netflix. Yeah. So the cast is some people you may have known, some people you may have known. because this is a Tyler Perry movie. So you have Joshua Boone, who plays Bayou. You have Amara Van, who plays Hattie Mae. You have Soleil Pfeiffer, who plays Leanne. Austin Scott, who plays Willie Earl. Milana Jackson plays Sitsi. Daphne Reed, shout out to Daphne Reed, who plays elderly Hattie Mae. And E. Roger Mitchell, who plays Buster. Now, this is a great movie, but it is one of those movies that can make you angry. Oh, potentially. Okay.
Triggering.
Yeah, it's a triggering movie. It is deep in the South, so racism is big in this movie. So just
when is it set in? Like what time frame?
So it's set in 1987 and 1937.
Oh, okay.
So it just goes like back and forth through there. But she's a lady who's a singer. She wants to have a juke joint. She used to have, well, not gonna say a juke joint, but she was the singer that was outside and like hanging out with people, and like people wanted to hear her sing.
Okay.
So she also washes the clothes for people all over town, black and white. So then her husband is Buster. Now Buster is a musician. He has dreams of playing in Chicago at the something Royale. I can't remember what the name of it is. Something Royale. But you never know if he has a job or not.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm thinking that he doesn't.
Tommy ain't got no job.
Tommy ain't got no job. Okay. Yeah.
Maybe he does.
Excuse me. You also have Willie Earl, who is the oldest son of Hattie and Buster. He's the pride and joy of his daddy. Aww. You were your daddy's boy. He plays music as well, and he's just like another like mini me of his father.
Okay.
They are both like, I don't know. They're just one and the same. Now, and then their other son, Bayou. Very humble, shy. He's a mama's boy. He gets picked on by his father and his brother viciously, but he is a sweetheart. He, like, people around like him. Like, he is, like, a good kid. Now, you have Sitsi, who is the worker and family friend. Like, she works with Hattie Mae doing all of the laundry and stuff. And she's also, like, a really good family friend of Hattie Mae. Now, Leanne. Leanne is the daughter of a woman. Now, see if you can follow this. Okay. She's the daughter of a woman who had dropped her off in the South to the woman's father. Okay. Right? So he could raise her so she could run off to the North to present herself as a white woman.
Oh, so she's trying to pass, so she couldn't pass if she had her daughter with her.
No, not necessarily. Oh. That's for a whole nother reason. Now, so just to give you some insight, let me give you some background information with the movie. Okay. All right, so in Hopewell County, Georgia, in 1987, that's how they say it.
87?
87.
Okay.
87. So it starts off with elderly Hattie Mae. Now she's going, and she's walking. This lady looks like she's 100 years old.
Oh, wow.
And she is walking. And where is she walking to? She's walking to talk to this guy who's running for Congress. Now, she sees him all over the TV, and he's just like, talking about how the only reason that the guy that's running against him for Congress is able to be how he's able to even run is because of affirmative action, and he wants to get rid of that and blah 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 blah. So she's going to convince him to look into a murder investigation that happened 40 years ago.
Oh, okay.
So that's how it starts. And when he's like, well, man, why don't you write this stuff down for me? And she's like, my life's been too long. I don't write nothing down. She said, but he wrote everything down. And she pulls out the letters that come from the man who got killed.
Oh, gotcha.
Now, it starts off with the letters, and then it goes like a flashback back to 1937.
37, okay.
And in 1937, that's when you meet Bayou, younger Hattie Mae, Willie Earl, Sitsi, Leanne, Buster, and all them. So like the main characters. But the story is mainly about Bayou and Leanne in their complicated love story. So because of this Deep South and so much racism, this KKK that are out there, they're just killing black people and there was no repercussions. So the story of Leanne and Bayou is very complicated because she could also pass as a white woman as her mother did. So it's so much back and forth with that, and like how it's like they were so in love and then they just get torn apart, and like it's just so much into it. But it is really deep. It's a sweet movie. There's a lot of twists and turns into it. It's hateful, hurtful. It's a movie that's probably the best movie that Tyler Perry has ever done.
Wow. Yeah. And that's good because he has not done, I mean, in my opinion, has not done a lot of phenomenal movies.
Well, he wrote
of
this
late, but that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And I guess from what I understand, it was like a very early on movie that he had written that he had just never gotten done. So he was doing so well with the Medeas that he kind of followed that train, but didn't go into this area. But this was something very early on before he became quote unquote Tyler Perry that he wrote. So he should have maybe put this out even earlier.
If he would have started off with this, he would be Jordan Peele.
Oh.
That's what, see what I'm saying?
Interesting.
He would be
Jordan Peele's last one.
Well, but see, I'm talking about
Get Out.
But look, he would have started off with this, and this would have been his Get Out.
There you go. Gotcha.
And then he would have got the
but
the notes.
But he's made millions and millions and millions off of Medea.
Yeah,
so
that's very true.
That's
very true. So maybe, you know what? Maybe it's the time. It's because he had to do all of that in order to get to the point where he's at right now.
I think that's what it is.
So we can have his own production company. He can buy that 500 acres in Georgia to, make his own sets for whatever.
Yeah.
So
his own movie, his own way. So good for him. So wonderful.
Yeah, check it out. A Jazzman Blues. It's on Netflix. Shout out to Tyler Perry. Sorry I was talking crap about you, but this is your best. This is definitely your best, and you need to keep doing more like this.
More like this,
just in case you're listening.
True. Good.
All right. So what do you have next?
So my final one is on Netflix, actually, and it's called The Watcher. And so it is, interestingly enough, a Ryan Murphy, I was going to say movie, but series that actually is based on a true story, which was kind of interesting to me because I was like, how in the world could this be based on a true story? But lo and behold, you Google it after you watch it, and there it is. It talks about this particular scenario actually having taken place. It was a true story. Yeah, so the series is 7 episodes, and the cast, it's really an all-star cast. So you have Bobby Cannavale, you have Naomi Watts, you have Jennifer Coolidge, Mia Farrow, Christopher McDonald, Richard Kind, Terry Kinney, and Margot Martindale.
That's my girl right there, Margot Martindale.
So some of those names you might not, necessarily recognize, but if you start looking at this, you're going to be like, I've seen that face before. I know that
everybody
actor.
knows Margot Martindale, man.
Everybody knows Margot. Yeah, for sure.
She got that iconic, country accent.
And she is... well, I'll get to that in a little bit, but she is an interesting character in here. And so, but no, it's really, I personally really enjoyed watching this. So much so that I kind of binged it all together. So, it's based in New Jersey, basically a New Jersey suburb. And it's really about a couple who decide to move from downtown New York City. They work in New York, so they've been living in New York, and they're like, you know what, we're going to move to the Jersey suburbs and just get a little bit more of a quiet life. They see this gorgeous house that they like, but it's way out of their price range. It's over $3 million to get this house. And so the whole thing is about, in the beginning, them just trying to figure out, well, how are we going to pay for this particular house? And so the husband and wife, Dean and Nora, they were Dean and Nora Brannick. But basically, it's about them and their 2 kids. And it's Ryan Murphy, so we know he does American Horror Stories and things like that.
I love him.
It could come across, in my opinion, it's more suspenseful. They call it a psychological thriller, basically. Yeah. And so when you're following them, after they figure out the money, move into the house, all of a sudden they realize their neighbors are really strange and weird. So Margot Martindale and her husband, Richard Kind, they actually are sitting out in the yard, just watching them, maybe with binoculars, maybe not, and just seeing what's going on across the street. And so the husband like is looking at them kind of strange and like, well, wave. They don't wave back. They just stare. And you're like, okay. Then one day the husband comes out, though Margot Martindale is in his yard actually cutting like vegetables out of a garden.
Arugula.
And he was like, yeah, right, arugula. And he's just like, what are you doing in my yard? And she was like, well, I planted it on this side of the fence, which is my side of the fence, but it's growing onto your side of the fence because the sun is better on your side of the fence. So therefore, I just came into your yard to get my arugula. And he's like, yeah, get it out of my yard. And he was like, how did you even get in? And she was like, if you knew anything about the neighborhood and the house when you moved in, you would have known that there's an opening over there, Sherlock. You know, so she's just like going off on him when she's kind of in the wrong of being on this guy's property without any permission. And so then you have this other gentleman who, seems to have maybe a mental disability where he just like showed up in their dumbwaiter. Like, you know, that dumbwaiter thing, the elevator-y thing that you take food from one to another. So he just shows up there and the guy's like, his son screams, you know, they're like, oh, you have to get out of our house, you know, that kind of thing. He'll just stand and look at their yard.
Yeah, he just brought the paper into them.
Yep, just brought the paper in. The husband's in the kitchen like fixing coffee and all of a sudden he turns around and that guy's standing there with the newspaper. He drops it on the floor and just walks out. And it's like, how are these people getting into our house? And so then, what else was it?
You know what that reminds me of? That reminds me of the guy who was fixing that mailbox on the woman across the street from the girl in the window.
Right. Yeah. Whoo. Okay. Yep. That's true. It's like he's always around, but what is he around for? Why? So, but yeah, and then his sister is actually Mia Farrow, and she's always just yelling and screaming at the guy about how he's a horrible neighbor. You're a terrible neighbor. You know, my brother has issues, and he's so kind, and he's so sweet, and he's not going to hurt a fly, and you're just a terrible neighbor. So it's like all these weird, quirky things going on, and this is like episode 1 of 7. And then all of a sudden, they start getting these letters in their mailbox, where it's like weirdly written letters that basically say things like, to the residents of 659 Boulevard, I have been watching you. I know now because you say it so frequently that your daughter and son's names are this and that. And, you know, it's like this letter just goes through everything that's happening with the renovations in their home, but also things that are happening outside their home. And it's like, you know, this and that. And, you know, you need to feed the house what it needs and yada, yada. It's like all this weird, quirky verbiage. And so they keep getting the letters and they're like, who in this weird, strange neighborhood is sending us these letters? Because this is ridiculous. And so that's kind of where the story all begins, with the quirky neighbors and the really ominous letters that they're receiving about what's taking place literally in their home and outside their home. And so you don't know who you can trust. You don't know who you should or shouldn't be listening to. You know, they try to go to the police and he just is like, oh, you know, Mo and her husband, whatever, they're harmless. Don't worry about them. And they're like, yeah, but they're trespassing on our property already. And then it's like, oh, well, you know, the guy was in your dumbwaiter. Oh, he does that all the time. Like, we knew about that. Like, the police are just like discounting everything that this couple is trying to make them aware of. People are trying to tell them they need to sell the house. They're like, we just moved into the house. We take a huge cut if we did sell the house and lose a ton of money, which our whole investment and savings is in this house, because again, it was so expensive they could barely afford it. Exactly. And so, long story short, it's a very suspenseful thriller kind of show that really goes up until the end for you to know really what's taking place, what's happening. And again, totally supposed to be based on a true story of a couple who actually, they changed the names, but a couple who moved into a house. And when they moved into this home, they started getting these very strange, weird letters. And
that's kind of crazy.
Yeah, what happened with that, and whether or not they, in real life, even decided to stay in that home or not. And so the story will also tell you at the end whether or not, because all the letters were signed by, quote unquote, the watcher. So, like, we're watching you. And it's so weird, too, because even as the neighbors were talking, like, we're watching you. We know what you're doing over there. And they're like, oh, are you the watcher? Because our letters are getting signed by the watcher. So when people are saying we're watching you.
Now that makes them suspicious. Like, what is it?
Is it you? Are you the watcher? Or whatever. You know, like, it's so many different things that, you know, all of a sudden somebody will say one phrase and then somebody else in the neighborhood says the exact same phrase. And you're like, are they talking to each other? Yeah. Are they conspiring? Or is it that...
Is it like it's Pleasantville where everybody just says the
it's
same
just
thing?
Like so random, like, you know, so it's certain things that are just very strange and quirky about it. But at the same time, it was really, really, I really enjoyed it. I look forward to, I don't know if they could even have a second season since this is based on a true story, but I thought for the time that they took to tell the story, it had a good pace, and I thought that it was really good, and it had phenomenal actors in it, so couldn't go wrong. So The Watcher on Netflix was really, really suspenseful and a good movie to kind of check out to figure out who the Watcher is.
Who's the Watcher?
Who's the Watcher?
All right.
Yep. So what do you have?
All right. So for my last one, I have The Luckiest Girl Alive.
Never heard of it.
Yep.
So what
also
is that?
on Netflix, with the cast, it has Mila Kunis, who plays Ani Finelli.
Let me guess. She's supposedly the luckiest girl?
She's the luckiest girl alive. You have Shira. I don't know how to pronounce her name.
Okay.
Aurelia. She plays young Ani. You have Finn Whitrock, where you would know him from American Horror Story.
Oh, Finn. Okay.
Yeah, Finn's on American Horror Story. He was also the prisoner on Nurse from Ryan Murphy. He plays Luke Harrison, the boyfriend. Yeah. You got Connie Britton, which is Dina, the mom, and people know her from 911, Nashville, Friday Night Lights, that kind of thing. You have Justine Lupe, who plays Nell, who is the BFF, the best friend. Okay. And she is on Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. Amazing. Gotta love her. Mm-hmm. Then you have Jennifer Beals, who plays Lolo Vincent, who is Ani Finelli. That's her boss. Oh, okay. So, This is it is a emotional mental movie. Okay. By that I mean the emotion, you can feel the emotions of the main character as she's going through them. Well, maybe I can just feel them because I'm an empath, but I can feel them as well as you can kind of see where she's coming from with the things that are happening. Or why she does the things that she does. Okay. It's kind of like I don't know. I don't want to ruin it, so I'm gonna keep my mouth shut. Anyway, all right. So Ani, who was a writer for a women's magazine, it's one of those women's magazines that like benefits men. Oh, where it's just like 20 ways to make him scream or something like that. She basically seems like she has it all figured out. She has a great job. She's working on getting another good job. Oh. She's engaged to a handsome man whose family is like a big deal around. Like they have money. Like they got old people money. Like they got like rings passed down through generations type money.
A signet.
Yeah, exactly. She has her best friend, who is Nell, like I told you before, who was played by Justine Lupe. And that she, like, Nell has been by her side through thick and thin, no questions asked. So, like, when she is alone and when she's with Nell, it's the only time that you actually see her being herself. Okay. When she's with her mother, no, she can't. When she's with her fiance, no, not happening. His family, like, and then the thing is, she has this inner monologue, but then she kind of slips up and says her inner monologue
out loud.
And she starts it inside, and then it comes outside, and then everybody's like shocked and appalled, and she just turns around, she's just like, dang on it, and then she's just like, and then she just turns around and walks away. Okay, all right, well, I said it, can't come back from there. But so what it is that her past has like come to basically haunt her. But I'm not going to say haunt her, but it's coming back to, I guess, give her a hard time with her life. Okay. and it's a past that she's been trying to forget. It's been something that she's going through, like, since childhood. Like, her mother was not the best mother in the world. They don't say anything about her father. So she goes to a school where she's on a scholarship, and the scholarship that she's going through, like, she's going to a high school on a scholarship, and the only reason that she's getting it is because she's super smart, but also because she's super poor. So then she starts to meet these different kids, and with these kids, then it becomes fun and torture all at the same time. Oh, wow. There is a school shooting that happens. There is, like, some other stuff that happens. It's a lot of stuff that happens to her when she's younger, between, like, high school and college. So she's just trying to, like, get over that, and she's trying to be the person that she remembers being young, going on a field trip, and seeing this woman walking down the steps. And this woman, she said, this is the first time she had ever seen a woman who looked like she had made enough money to buy stuff for herself, didn't need a man to, like, certify who she was. Mm-hmm. And when she walked, people moved out of the way. Mm. Wow. So she was just like, that's what she wanted. So, and then from that day on, when she was in, like, maybe 11th grade, she to be the person that she wants to end up being. But then it's like, but then she's thinking to herself, am I actually the person that I want to be? Or am I somebody totally different?
Right. And how would she know the person that she wanted to be would treat people like that?
Exactly.
Because all you're seeing is the powerfulness of this woman, but you treated people.
Yeah, so that's what she's torn with. She's like, I don't, like, am I still me? Mm-hmm. She's like, because I'm still in there, but I'm just, like, this powerful person, but I had to do all these things to end up being this powerful person. So it's a lot of, like, back and forth, up and downs that are in this movie. Like, it's so much, like, she changed her name. Her name is Tiffany. Okay. She changed it to Ani. Oh, okay. Tiffany. That's actually how it's spelled. Like, because I watch shows with closed captions because of the fact that I'm ADHD and I hear things, but I don't listen to them. Mm-hmm. So it's capital TIF, capital ANI. Okay. So which is, I was like, wait, what? I was like, where did Ani come from? And then when I saw it in the captions, I was like, oh, okay.
Yep. Without the captions, who would have known?
Exactly. So definitely changed. Like, she changed her name. She changes a lot of things. Her and her mother's relationship, don't, like, by the end of it, you can't really tell if they're, like, if they're good, or if they're just kind of like, I'll see you Thanksgiving, you know, that kind of thing, or I'll see you for a couple of hours Thanksgiving, or maybe I'll come and we'll eat dinner together and I'm leaving. Mm-hmm. But, like, it's a really, really good movie, twist, turned, like, great plot, like, I think that it's a reason why it is in the top 10 for Netflix right now for movies.
Awesome. Okay, so
check it out. It is Luckiest Girl Alive on Netflix.
All right. Well, there you go, everybody. That is our show for this week. I do want to give a shout out to everybody who went on this trip to Mexico with us. So it is a shout out to Aunt and Uncle Sabra and Wendell. Shout out. Uncle Norman. Shout out. Mom. Shout out.
Shout out,
and
Mom.
Terry. Shout out. And Toby. Shout out. And Janella, shout out. And my sister D, shout out to me. And then it was me, the birthday girl, shout out. So it was an amazing, amazing trip. So just wanted to make sure that everybody knew who went and all the fun we had. So that is it for this week of Sestra-Tainment. Talk to y'all later. Bye.